Welcome to Hope Natural Health, the podcast inspiring you to be your best version. Join me, your host, Dr. Erin, naturopathic doctor, dog mom, cancer survivor, and girl boss weekly as we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Welcome back to the Hope Natural Health podcast, where I try to get you healthy the right way. Last week, we talked all about, it might be a weird name, but poop. So poop is so important, and I think it is a super important foundation of health. So if you're like, this is gross, I don't want to listen to it, I challenge you, listen to it, you'll learn something, and go back and listen to that episode. But we are going to switch things up today, and I have a super awesome guest with me today. I have Brooke, who is a certified nutrition coach and weight loss expert who is on a mission to help as many people as possible lose weight for the last time. But get this, she helps people lose weight without giving up carbs, counting every single calorie, drinking meal replacement shakes, or other unsustainable extremes. This is my type of chat because I literally speak to patients about this every day, about why diets suck, in my opinion, and how they're not sustainable. And this is going to be so awesome. So stay tuned, dive in. We're ready to go. Welcome, Brooke, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. So let's dive right in. Tell me, how in the heck did you get into doing what you're doing?
Well, we were just chatting off air. I'm actually also from Arizona, so I won't go way back all the way to birth, but I was born and raised in Arizona. I ended up going to college in California, and my mom was a teacher growing up, so I kind of observed that career path and had a very closed-minded view, I think, of what I could do in life. And I was like, oh, I guess I should be a teacher. So that's what I ended up pursuing first in my career. And I moved to New York City and started doing that through a volunteer program. And that's really kind of when my health issues started, I guess you could say. I never gained the freshman 15 in college, as a lot of my friends did, and kind of griped about. But after college, when I started my career, I gained about 20 pounds in those first years teaching. And I felt really bloated. Just lacked energy, sluggish all the time. I like to say I was always hungry, more like hangry. I actually carried what I called an emergency apple in my bag just for when those cravings would hit and I felt like I couldn't make it 30 more minutes without eating something. And I did what I think a lot of people do. I did all of the things. I exercised a ton. I tried to eat less. I tried to have better willpower. I counted calories. I did different juice cleanses. I tried meal replacement bars. I did everything that I thought I was supposed to be doing and that everybody else was doing. And I would lose weight and feel better for always a short period, but then I would gain it all back. So I think people are likely familiar with this yo-yo pattern where you lose the weight, you're feeling better, you have more energy, and then you stop being so strict with whatever it is, and you go back to real life and normal habits and you gain the weight back. So that was the pattern I kind of bounced around in my 20s in conversations with friends and coworkers and family. Other people were saying, oh, you know, it's my metabolism slowing, or it's just my job is why I'm tired all the time. And so I kind of adopted those excuses as my own and just figured, I guess that's what happens now. You start getting older, even though I was still in my 20s, but you get older, you get a job, and your metabolism slows down, and this is just what happens. So I guess I sort of settled for the status quo, if you will, for a while, until I hit another breaking point, and I was like, you know what? There are people out there who have figured this out, and I don't know why I am not one of them, but I am determined. So I went a different route this time, and I decided to get my hands on as much knowledge and education as possible. I dove into books, I read scholarly articles. I really made learning about nutrition and health and weight loss and maintenance kind of a hobby, if you will. And eventually I enrolled in the Institute for Transformational Nutrition. I was still teaching, didn't think I was going to use this certification I was getting as a nutrition coach, but I just wanted to get as much information as possible. So I thought might as well study more in this coursework. And ultimately, after years of this research path, that's when I finally figured it out, how to lose the weight, not just in the short term, to keep it off long term, and also still to enjoy all of the things in life that are tasty and delicious, and, you know, happy hours, and not to fear going to parties or restaurants because I don't know what I'm going to eat.
Right.
And it's just been incredibly liberating and freeing. So I got so into it, I just wanted to scream it from the rooftops and tell everybody everything I was learning. And I learned the hard way that a lot of people don't want to sit down at lunch and chit chat about health and nutrition. So I thought, how could I kind of channel this into something where people will want to talk about this more? And my husband and I ended up moving closer back to home. We live in California now. So when we moved across the country, that was kind of the fresh start. I needed, instead of getting another teaching job, I started my own business as a full-time nutrition coach. And now I still think of myself kind of as a teacher in a way, but I didn't have to give that up completely. But I'm just teaching now about something I'm way more passionate about, which is nutrition. And specifically, people come to me for help with weight loss and weight maintenance.
I love that. That's so awesome. I'm the same way. It's like I wanted to be a teacher too, way back when.
Oh.
Yeah, but I teach almost every single day. And it's just like you, it's just a different way of teaching without being like labeled a teacher.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was teaching English, and, you know, I also love English, and I love reading, and I love commas and things, but then
the punctuation police.
Exactly. I love punctuating things, but I'm more passionate about this now. So
yeah. Oh, I love that. So you have a really cool approach that you named the 3A approach. I have no idea what this is, nor does anyone else. So can you explain what this approach is and how you help? I'm assuming this is your weight loss approach.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll say it, and people will say, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's because I've made it up.
Yeah.
But essentially, through all of the research I was doing, and when I was getting education and just feeling really empowered, I realized also in working with clients that losing weight and keeping it off, I probably, every time I'm on an interview, I say sustainable or keep it off or long-term a million times. But that's, I think, what we're all after, even if we don't realize it. But it comes down to 3 A's, which are awareness, attitude, and accountability. So awareness is really getting your hands on the evidence-based information that will help you not just lose the weight, but keep it off long-term. Attitude is working on your mindset, because really sustaining success boils down a lot to what you think. Sure, your behaviors are important, but I would even say the mindset, the attitude piece is more important than the behaviors. And accountability, absolutely critical. It can come in many different forms. It can come through working with some type of coach. It can come from a friend, a family member. It can come from yourself, and often does need to at some point. But we really have to focus on where is that accountability piece going to come from, because research suggests that when you get accountability working towards any goal, your odds of success can improve by up to 95%.
So true.
Yeah.
Awesome. So those are the 3 A's, everyone. Awareness, attitude, and accountability. Super, super important with literally almost everything. So how do you use that specifically for weight loss? Is that like, run me through how, if somebody wanted to sign up and have you as probably their accountability, or to teach them about weight loss or sustainable weight loss, is this where you start?
It is. So in my group coaching program, everything revolves around these. So the accountability piece, we have a private Facebook community where I'm in there answering your questions, or you're getting support from other members as well. We also have coaching calls once a week. So you're able to hop on, ask me any questions you have. We celebrate your small successes you've had in the past week. And then we also troubleshoot any challenges you're having. So you get that kind of human interaction face to face. You know, I'm doing this. Is this the right thing? Or I'm having trouble with this. How can you help me? And then every week, I say, or sometimes, you know, depending on people's schedules, it's more like 2 weeks, but you watch a couple of videos. So one is on the awareness piece and one is on the attitude piece. So in the awareness video, you're learning some principle that works when it comes to weight loss and maintenance. So for example, there's a unit on protein. So you're learning the hows, whys, ins and outs of protein and how it affects your body and how it helps you stay full. You're estimating your daily range of grams to aim for each day. And then you're slowly starting to learn how to add protein into your diet. Maybe starting with breakfast, maybe moving to lunch next, then to dinner. So we're always taking small behavioral changes so that it's never overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also watching attitude videos that are helping you rewire your brain. So it's not that idea that the diet starts Monday if maybe you had a piece of cake over the weekend. It doesn't have to be you're all on or all off, as we've learned, I think, through doing things like Whole30 or, I mean, there's so many different programs out there. I think there's one right now I've been seeing people post about. It's 75 hard.
Yes.
Have you heard about that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you miss, I was reading the directions and I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. But I think you have to work out twice a day.
Yes. And one has to be outside.
One has to be outside, yes. And all these other things that, I mean, I just stopped reading it because I was getting so stressed out.
Right?
I did understand the piece that if you mess up one day, you have to go back and start all the way at the beginning, which, oh my gosh. I mean, I was just envisioning getting to day 70 and then you mess up and you feel like you have to go all the way back. And I mean, so yeah, it's undoing that mindset of it has to be perfect or I'm completely messing up, and we're focusing more on progress and small baby steps. And again, I mentioned we're not overhauling your entire lifestyle because you can only do that for so long. You can probably do it, let's say 75 days, if that, maybe 30. And then once the strict rules end, you're left with old habits. And that's when people usually run into the problems.
Oh yeah, for sure. Before this thought leaves my brain, when you say like the attitude and like learning these or relearning these old behaviors and et cetera, like how long do you think it takes for us to, make these new habits, incorporate the protein in or take away that or improve the attitude? Like on average, I know everyone's different and everyone has different things going on in their lives. Like how quick do you see, someone start with these, I guess the three A's is what I'm trying to.
You can see it as quickly as a week.
Oh, cool.
I think people are just shocked that when I kind of give them permission away, even though you don't need permission from me, right? But I'm giving you permission to take it slow, and I'm giving you all these visuals, let's say of a house being built. It's brick by brick. It doesn't just go up overnight, right? And you need it to be brick by brick so that you're building a strong foundation. And so I'm walking you through all these mindset exercises, and I'll hear usually from people in either my one-on-one program or my group coaching program that they're feeling changes so much faster than they ever did. And they're having these aha moments. And I encourage you to put any aha moments from the mindset units on Post-its or in a reminder in your phone. And I think we also celebrate small successes, and it's not everybody has a longer term goal. So it's typically some type of 12-week or 90-day goal, and we get really specific with that. And so a lot of times people are focusing on that end goal and not all of the small things that come along the way. But it's so important to focus on any success you have. If it's waking up easier to your alarm, if it's having more energy between breakfast and lunch, or not feeling like you have to grab that snack before lunch because you actually feel full. All of these things are wins. And so we really pause and we look at those along the way. And that is really incredible to realize, you don't just have to wait until 90 days to look at, did I hit my weight loss goal? It's more, what is the type of person you're becoming throughout the process? The type of person who makes these small changes, makes a commitment to yourself, goes for the walk when you don't feel like it. All of these things are worth celebrating.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. What do you think out of the 3 A's there is the hardest, or the one that people struggle the most with?
I think behavior change is certainly tough, but when I walk you through it slowly, I think people really get the hang of it. It's, let's say you're boiling a pot of eggs. I mean, that's not super hard to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's more the tangible physical things can be easier. I think the mindset part is the toughest, but it's also what is most gratifying. I've found everyone who leaves my program says, oh my gosh, I didn't realize the mindset I previously had, and the new one is so much more freeing and empowering. And so I think it could take longer maybe, and it could be tougher to rewire some of your synapses or whatever in your brain, but it's really cool throughout the process. And I lead you through journaling exercises and things. And so maybe that one's hardest.
Yeah.
I think self-accountability too can be really tough. And I give you tools for that. I say I'm not immune from cravings. I am not immune from wanting to crash on the couch at the end of the day and watch 3 Netflix shows in a row, right? Like, I think there's this perception that if you're working in nutrition or fitness, that you just always want to do everything you're doing. And that's not the case, at least not for me. So I'm very open about that. And I say, I use my Google Calendar and I put in 5 workouts per week or even daily walks. I mean, for me, I'm a kind of indoor person, if you will. And I could stay inside. I don't have to be hiking and outside. I love being indoors. So for me, I know that about myself, and self-awareness is critical. And I'll go into my Google Calendar and I'll put walk on my schedule, which to some people may seem silly, but in the morning, then I'll take a look at what's going on in my day, and then I'll move that walk to a 30-minute block of when I have time. And then when it hits my schedule, I know that's my time to walk. It's a meeting I have with myself. I'm going to hold it as sacred as a meeting I'd have with you on this podcast or with a client. And so I've gotten in the habit of using this external tool of the Google Calendar to help me stay accountable. But again, it's the permission, to do these things that may seem so silly, but they're going to get you far in the long run. And everybody struggles with different things. I mean, somebody else may love to go for a walk, and that may be the thing that they crave and look forward to all day. And I'm not that person. And so I think it's important to also realize we're all very different. And so we have to figure out what comes easiest to us. Awesome, roll with those things. But what are our challenges, and how can we make those things easier, or at least schedule them or use some tool to help to make those things happen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the premise behind the 75 hard is it's supposed to teach you accountability and more discipline, I think is like the mindset behind it. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, that sounds stressful.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know about you, but I did Whole30 once just because clients were doing it. And I thought I should probably do it.
Right.
So that I could see what the hoopla is about. Right. So I did it, and I did learn some things from it. And I think it was an interesting exercise, but I remember I was teaching at the time. It was cold and flu season, and it was day 3 or 4. And I had a cold, and so I popped a cough drop and moved along with my day, and then had this moment at night where I realized I didn't look at the cough drop. It had sugar in it.
Oh gosh.
And then the rules of Whole30 also are you're supposed to start over if you get to whatever. And it was only day 4, but I was so stressed out about it, about having a cough drop. Yeah. Right. And then I decided right then and there, I'm going to do most of the rules, but I'm sick right now. So I'm going to have these cough drops. Yeah. And I had to kind of reset, but it was very stressful to me. And I think my takeaway from it is I feel the same results in my life, not being as strict, having developed these habits that work for me. I feel the same awesome results as I did from Whole30. So I don't know why I would need to be that strict if I can get the same results not being that strict.
Exactly. And that's what, you do. And that's what you try and teach and advocate for. And same with me. It's like dieting doesn't have to be well, first of all, I hate the word diet. It doesn't like
Yeah,
weight loss doesn't have to be stressful.
it
And I
doesn't.
don't know why we've been like taught that it has to be stressful. And I think it's because of all of these outside influences, right?
I agree. Yeah. And I think it could be growing up too, moms or aunts or, people who are on
Hmm.
different diets and all the words that came along with it of, oh, I'm doing this diet right now and it's terrible. Or there's usually bad negative words affiliated with weight loss. And I think we kind of grew up with that. So yeah, it's redoing your brain.
Yeah, we're rewiring, shifting the
Hmm.
narrative to a better thing. So speaking of which, like yo-yo dieting, that's kind of, we touched a little bit on it. You know, you go on Whole30 or you do 75 hard or you do keto or whatever. And my whole thing is, well, what happens after that? And we usually
Yeah.
will gain the weight that we lost. So how, without, your 3A approach, I mean, that's obviously like the premise of it, but what are some tips to try and transition out of like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet on January 1st? I mean, this podcast won't come out until February, but usually the start of the year, people are like, oh, I'm going to go on this diet. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. But then what? It's like you're going to gain it back. So what are your best tips on trying to break the yo-yo dieting synopsis we've had?
I really looked at this for myself because I
Mm-hmm.
looked at what's different for me now versus when I was on the yo-yo diet
Mm-hmm.
pattern. And for me, what I can say, and I think this has been true for a lot of people, is yo-yo dieting is a result of a lack of education
Mm-hmm.
and a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding proven habits that actually work, which are really quite simple. If you go back to kind of what our grandparents or great grandparents were doing, I'm talking, prioritizing real whole foods and minimally processed foods most of the time. I mentioned protein, so getting good protein, also getting a bunch of vegetables, especially non-starchy veggies,
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing healthy fats, water, movement. I mean, all of these habits that we know are good for us and we know deep down these are the things that likely work, but then the shiny object of the diet comes along
Mm-hmm.
where maybe you can lose weight faster or it's kind of wrapped up in a bow of
Right.
here's all the rules inside of this and it requires less thought maybe. So I think it comes down to education, not just of evidence-based principles that work, but also self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
understanding your own likes, dislikes, time constraints, budget, culture,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things that are going to go into sustainability of habits for you. And it does require a longer process. You're not going to lose 30
Right.
pounds in 30 days or whatever the diet is promising, but slow and steady is going to actually be what gets you the results that last. So that's the win in my book.
Oh yeah.
And it is this longer process of self-discovery, and I think it's less of a reliance on these external rules and more of looking inward
Mm-hmm.
and trying things and see how you feel and then reassessing. I build in reflection to a lot of my programs of look back on what you were doing last week, what was working,
Mm-hmm.
what wasn't working, if it wasn't working, why wasn't it working. And it seems maybe like, oh, I don't have the time for that, or that seems, it's just easier, I
Yeah.
think, to turn to keto, where they just say, give up all carbs and you'll lose weight. Um, but it's so much more rewarding in the long run.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it goes back to like as a society, we've always wanted that quick fix too.
Yes.
So that's where I think that we like these yo-yo diets. But newsflash, like losing a lot of weight that quickly is not really healthy. So the
No,
sustainable long-term weight loss is where we want to be. So I really appreciate that.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, we're almost running out of time here, but I ask the same question to all of my podcast guests. So what would be your best or favorite health tip that you can share with the audience?
Ooh, I think, well, the mindset shift
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of my clients gravitate to and that I really love myself is just three words, and it's change requires change.
Ooh, I like that.
And I use that for a lot of different aspects of my life, but especially when it comes to health. So if I'm feeling kind of sluggish or uh, maybe I want to gain more muscle, I just remind myself that change requires change. So what am I going to do differently moving forward? And that's something I've just kind of worked into my life and is constantly evaluating how can I make small changes here and there to get the results I want, and realizing that doing the same things over and over gets you, what is it, insanity, whatever that quote is. I should know as a previous English teacher, but
yeah,
doing the same things over and over
right.
makes you insane, basically.
Yep.
If you're expecting different results and you're getting the same results. So change requires change. Maybe kind of a health tip, if you will, of just reminding yourself of that over and over again, and just making small changes week after week.
So good. I love that. I might use that for some motivation here, but that's so important because, again, baby steps. You have to take small changes over time to get to where you want to be. That's a really, really, really good reminder. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you have a free guide on your website, which is thehealthinvestment.com. So all of us will be linked in the show notes. And then you mentioned you offer one-to-one coaching and group coaching. So all of that can be found on your website, correct?
Exactly.
Awesome. What's your free guide about?
Free guide is called Lose Weight for the Last Time. And it just helps you. I mentioned protein. I have a method of balancing your plate to help you, like you said, lose weight without counting all the calories or giving up carbs. So there's a portion of pictures in there, and I kind of lead you through what you should be focusing on at most meals and snacks to see results.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, everyone go thehealthinvestment.com and download that free guide. And I'm sure she'll send you some other awesome tips and tricks on losing weight the healthy way without stressing your body out or yourself out or doing any of these crazy fad things going around. So, oh my gosh, Brooke, this was wonderful. We could probably talk about weight loss forever. It's such a hot topic and so important because there's so many people out there doing it the wrong way, as you know, and I know, and I really appreciate your work and what you do for other people. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome. Well, as always, if you found value in this, please share it to the world. You can tag us. All of Brooke's information will be in the show notes, and we'll see you all again next week.